21 years later, in 2007, adult Johnny is a famous stunt rider known for how he survived every single fall. When his stunts do fail is because he keeps thinking about Mephisto and the contract, but he tries to convince himself he isn't afraid. His friend Mac, who is worried about Johnny, wanting to clear the length of a football field in cars with one jump on the anniversary of Barton's accident. There's also the fact Johnny's obsessed with weird religious books that Mac thinks may be messing with his mind, but Johnny dismisses his worries, explaining he's waiting for a sign. Meanwhile, Mephisto's son Blackheart appears on Earth and approaches a biker bar to kill every human inside. Once everyone is dead, 3 fallen angels bonded with the elements show up who work for Blackheart. Blackheart wants them to help him find the San Venganza contract to harness its tremendous power and take over the world, and the Hidden agree. Before they can get moving though, Mephisto shows up outside to remind Blackheart it isn't his time yet, but Blackheart doesn't care. Mephisto can't hurt him on Earth because he's never fallen, although the Ghost Rider can. However, Blackheart isn't scared of Mephisto's creation and dares to send the man after him, although he's clearly jealous over the fact his dad gave such power to a human instead of him. The next day, Johnny is getting ready for the show and ignoring reporters as usual, but he makes an exception when he discovers an adult Roxanne has come to interview him as well. Instead of answering her questions though, Johnny keeps making his own because he wants to know what she's been up to all these years. The interview is cut short since it's going nowhere, and Roxanne leaves no matter how much her cameraman wants to stay because she never liked watching Johnny jump. Speaking of Johnny, he considers seeing Roxanne the sign he's been waiting for, and decides to go through his dad's old idea of jumping over a bunch of helicopters instead of cars. By replacing the dark thoughts with Roxanne, Johnny's jump is a total success, but instead of stopping to celebrate, Johnny just keeps going and drives out of the building to catch up to Roxanne's van on the road. Since she refuses to pull over or even talk to him, Johnny speeds up ahead and blocks the road to make the van stop. This makes Roxanne furious, but Johnny points out that if Roxanne really didn't want anything to do with him, she would have turned down the interview before kissing her. Roxanne pushes him away but also sees his point and accepts to get dinner together later. Night falls and Roxanne is waiting at the restaurant, worried about the lack of messages from Johnny, who is already pretty late. He's still at his apartment, because he's noticed his hands are getting quite red and hot. There's also a mysterious voice calling his name, and when he goes outside he finds Mephisto, who wants Johnny to stop Blackheart since that's part of the contract. Obviously Johnny refuses and gets on his bike ready to go on his date, but the magic behind the contract kicks in, and the bike suddenly gets covered in flames as it takes Johnny away at an insane speed, melting objects as they pass.